Hi, I'm Nathan Oakley and this is video log number 55. Credit where credit is due to Patricia Steer, who left a comment on my advert for the live hangout I'll be doing with Jeranism tomorrow. And she made a comment about the introduction to that particular video. It was a sort of Vsauce style intro because Vsauce has got one of the biggest anti-flat earth videos out there. Now, I've been a subscriber to Vsauce for a very long time, and the channel highlighted that the name Vsauce came from a random generator, and they were very keen to point this out and point people to this website and all the rest of it. And it made me think when Patricia Steer said something that got a giggle out of my wife. So what she said, or what Patricia Steer wrote in the comments on my ad for the live chat, was like the Vsauce intro, or is it NSauce? And my wife giggled and went, oh, I like NSauce. And I thought, hang on a second. Vsauce is a randomly generated name, but has got the most loaded implications in how it sounds. Now, I used to know a guy called Zach, who was an exchange student and came over to the UK from the States and lived with his sister. And he used to call he used to call people's virginity their V-papers. That was his description for it. I'm not sure how common that description is, but it was certainly common to him. And Vsauce, without going into too much graphic detail, conjures images that I'm sure you're all now thinking about. And it's got a zillion subscribers. He may seem, because he's on YouTube, like he's got a normal self-run channel like mine, but he isn't a self-run channel. He's very much manipulated and controlled by the mainstream media in what he does and what he says. So the name Vsauce, I think, is just a little hook to get people thinking about those things without thinking about them, while at the same time having the channel dispel the myth that they are in fact self-run and, you know, even randomly generated like the Big Bang itself. It's nuts. Now, I like Vsauce and I like Michael, even though I think if you ever encountered him, he'd probably be very irritating to be around. He'd non-stop point stuff out to you. But he's an excellent parrot, so I'm sure if someone sort of wrangled him enough to say the same thing over and over into him, he could repeat it back. And in his Vsauce on Is the World is Flat, it's actually a really great piece of programming. A bit like the Flat Earth Society talking about gravity and having the Earth as a plane rise up, causing the effect of gravity. Again, even with, you know, looking into Flat Earth at that site, which is the first hit you get to on a Google search, you're being indoctrinated with the ideas of gravity, and they're the very thing that are making you debunk the idea of Flat Earth on the Flat Earth Society website. And Vsauce has a very similar thing. They show you a flat disk. They even very nearly show you the azimuthal equidistant projection on this flat disk, but they use gravity to debunk it. So as you go further and further to the edge of the disk, you're getting subject to more and more gravity. Now, any flat earther that's done more than I don't know, 10 hours research will know that gravity is complete hokum. It's nonsense. It's not necessary. It's not needed. There are loads of principles like buoyancy and density and potential energy to explain the things that we encounter. And often on the shows like Smarter Every Day, they will explain these principles of potential energy when they're talking in context of gravity. So gravity's a nonsense, and the Flat Earth Society and indeed Vsauce are perpetuating this lie to keep us suckered in even when we're trying to debunk. And it's a terrible shame, but it makes me smile to think that the name itself has had propaganda surrounded about, you know, been engulfed in propaganda on their own channel. Vsauce is not a randomly generated channel name. It's a very, very, very clever name that they've managed to put into the consciousness of people some dirty thoughts without you even thinking about it. And should you look into it, oh, you're just being rude, you've got a dirty mind. Well, perhaps myself, perhaps my wife, and perhaps Patricia Steer have all got dirty connotations. But I don't think so. I think it's just my wife. Not that she's going to see this, and I won't tell her that I've made this video. But those dirty thoughts are in all of us. At a very base level, we are all thinking non-stop about sex and not dying. And things like Vsauce and the images that conjures play on that very emotion. I've been Nathan Oakley. I'll see you in an NSauce video.